Hi. Hello, good morning. Hello, Deep. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Vipin. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Tanika Ivel.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello. Um, mm, everyone, let's wait for others to join and then we'll start the meeting.
Hi, Vasant. Good afternoon.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi. How are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Let me check in the group as well. Just a moment. Okay, fine. So yeah, let's start now. Let me quickly bring the whiteboard. Yep. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, a session. I
Oh,
can see.
so firstly, I actually sent you the agenda. So if you're going to just go through the agenda, and first, let me introduce myself, and then we can start with you one by one. So about me, myself Vasant Shanmugam. So you must have heard about the Little Law YouTube channel, and I work as a DevOps engineer in UK. Before that, okay, sorry, let me just quickly add one more person. Yeah. And before that, I was working in various other roles. In the IT, I was like working as a support engineer. I was working with .NET, and then I was about to take an opportunity with performance testing, engineering, and SRE. So with that, I just got an interest on various tools, and then I was like starting this channel like 3 4 years back. I remember, and then I keep on adding videos, and then yeah, with that I got this passion, and I have started creating videos and sharing my knowledge. And I got to see several people have got stuck in functional testing. I know many of my friends are in that same phase, and so because of that, I started to do it. And later, I was like giving consultation to a lot of people, many of my friends as well. And yeah, that's about me. A quick introduction, and I have experience with tools like JMeter, LoadRunner, and Neoload, IBM Rational Performance Tester. So that's about my performance testing knowledge, and even K6, Gatling, Locust. So these are some of the tools which I have like worked on, And in terms of monitoring, I've used Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Datadog. And apart from that, currently I'm working as a DevOps engineer, platform engineer, where I'm learning about GitHub, Git, and Visual Studio Code, the tool which I use for all my operations, and then Kubernetes, Terraform. So these are my current skills which I'm acquiring. I'm just working on them. I'm improving myself. And in fact, yeah, there are several videos on that as well. Yeah, so this one, like I told you, so I have a batch last year where I was like training few people, the same manner I have started like this, and they were like completely transition now to performance testers, and they have got good placement as well. And you must have heard, you must have seen some of my previous videos if you have not yet seen that. So many of the people who watched the interview videos and the training, so they have actually successfully migrated from functional to performance testing area. And that's a quick introduction about me. And yeah, we can go ahead. We can start with you. So who is going to start first? Shall we start with Tanihivel?
Yes. Hi, Dim. Like, good morning. Hi, Vasant.
Hi, hello.
So, I have like 3 years, 3+ years of experience in software testing. Like, last project, like, I had a chance to work on performance testing. Like, it is like high level, like basic performance test I have done. Like, I thought I can learn deep through this performance testing, and I also know the automation testing. Like, I have worked in the hybrid mode, and yeah, that's it about me. Like I am currently working in Softtech company called Softtech India from Bangalore.
Okay, great, great. So which tool you are using now?
So currently I'm using JMeter.
JMeter. Okay, nice, nice, nice. So what is the reason? Like, why do you want to move from functional to performance?
No, I have already have a like automation skill and functional skill as well. Like I
Mm,
thought it would make me like good profile. So if I learn the performance test also, like in future, if any vacancies comes along through any of the skill set, I would be there to apply for that. So
okay, great. Thank you. And thanks, Tanihivel. Thanks for
thank
introduction.
you.
And yeah, we'll move on to Deepa. Hi, Deepa.
Hi Vashant. Hi everyone. It's great to connect with you all here. Currently, I'm holding a 4+ years of experience in software testing. In my organization, is purely now concentrating only on the manual functioning task as per the workload here. So here, I can see the sometimes users experiencing the bottlenecks in application itself. So we are taught to implement the performance testing. So it could be, if the system is optimized, means it will be helpful for the end user also. And I have learned myself in JMeter, but I joined here to learn the technology in the right way, Vasan. So I as for the last 1 year current, I am following your YouTube videos. It would
Mm-hmm.
be this much insightful for us. So if learning from you, I think it's a great opportunity, so that's what I joined here.
Thank you, thank you. And are you using, I mean, currently, by any chance, you're using any performance testing
Yeah,
task?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, listen. Currently, we are using the JMeter. For
Mm,
the
mm.
monitoring purpose, we are using the AWS CloudWatch, Vasant.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. So your applications are hosted on AWS.
Yeah, yes, Vasant.
Okay, great. Thank you, thanks, Deepan. Thanks for watching my videos for a long
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. This is
Thank
the
you.
motivation for me to go forward. Yeah, and hi, Muthu.
Vasant.
Hello, hi, Muthu.
So,
How are you?
yeah, hi Vasant. Hello, I'm
Yeah,
audible.
go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi Vasant. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. So, from last few months, I'm following your videos. So, till I'm not working anywhere, any organization. So, currently, I know functional testing very well, but few things to learn about performance testing. I have to learn performance testing. in place to join an IT company as well.
Okay.
So
Okay. Nice.
yeah, also.
Great. So you're located at which location?
So currently I'm from AP, Andhra Pradesh, on the
Oh.
beside Tirupati.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Muthu. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wish you all the
thank
very
you.
best.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah. Hi, Nitin. Nitin, can you hear me? You're on mute. Hello. Nitin, can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Nitin. Okay. We'll move to Sai Kumar. Hi, Sai Kumar. Hello, Sai Kumar.
Hi.
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Hi, Vasant. Good afternoon. And I have been 3 years of work experience in performance testing, and I want to move the Loader 2 and JMeter. Just I have started the learning the JMeter skills. That's why I came to here.
No, okay. Okay. So currently you're using which tool?
Yeah, no JMeter.
Oh, JVT you're using. Okay. Okay. And
Yeah,
you're working for?
yeah. I'm variety India,
Okay. And you're located at
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Sai Kumar. Thanks for joining. Yep. And hi, Santosh.
Yeah, hi, Usman.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So what about you?
Ye-
Introduction. Yeah.
Yes, I have 3.5 years of experience in
Mm.
performance testing, and recently I used manual testing for, and I need to switch to again performance testing.
Mhm.
So I just reboost my skills in JMeter. That's why I'm joining this call.
Okay. Great. Great. Thanks for that. And so where are you located at? And currently,
Uh,
which organization you're working?
Currently I'm in Hyderabad, and my last organization is a mobile programming private limited in Pune
Mm.
location.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Vasanth, yes.
Nice. Nice. Great to know that. And yeah, we have one more person joining. I think his name is Shine. Let's wait for. And is this your first meeting with me? Or do you have you joined any of the previous meetings?
One of session, Saturday session, previous session I have joined.
Oh, okay, okay. You do join that. Okay, the weekly catch up.
Yeah, there are a lot of doubts and clarifying the doubts.
Okay, okay. So, how useful do you find it?
Yeah, it's a very good session, and
Okay, nice. Yep. Let's wait for. Okay, there's one more person who's about to join, and then fine. Let him join, and then we'll. Meanwhile, like we'll start about the next topic. So the next one is understanding about performance testing. Okay. So first, let me explain. So you must have known by this time like what is performance testing, what is performance testing, and why do we do it, why it matters, and how it differs from functional testing. So first thing is like what is performance testing? So yeah, everybody of us know a little bit about the functional testing. So usually people when they say I'm doing manual testing, I really don't agree with that because every action that we do is manual, but the thing is it's not manual testing, it's actually functional testing. So all we do is functional testing because what we do is like we test the functionality of the application, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like we are doing the functional testing. For example, if you are testing the login part, like checking whether the login works, you are actually testing the functionality of the login. And anywhere we are not going to, going forward, we are not going to, I'm not going to say that as a manual testing, and I request you to do the same. It's going to be the functional testing. And so when you're dealing with functional testing, what is the one that we're going to do under performance testing is non-functional testing. So in fact, I would say, let me just copy this. Yep. And all we are going to do after this is we are going to, okay, I get this one. We're going to deal with the non-functional testing, and performance testing is one of it. Not performance testing is the only is the one that's completely about performance testing, because under non-functional testing we do have several testing methods. So when I say under non-functional testing, we do have performance testing. And because why I'm telling you all this is you might get this as a question in your interview. So mostly I used to concentrate on the interviews, because we all know, we all work very well, but the point is we all struggle a bit in cracking the interview. So that's the reason why I always deal in terms of the interviews, and also in terms of learning it. So yeah, and after this we do test the security testing, and that's again another non-functional one. So there are like several other parts. And coming back to this performance testing, we do have multiple types of performance testing, right? So can anybody tell the types of performance testing?
Load testing,
Okay.
stress,
Endurance test.
yeah, and then spike.
Endurance testing, and then like you said, spike. Okay. And apart from that, we do have a few more.
Volume testing.
Well, exactly.
Volume
Yeah,
testing.
that's right. Volume testing. Yep. And anything else? Do you remember?
Failover testing.
Oh, sorry.
Failover testing.
I don't understand that. Sir, can you come again, please?
Failover testing, I can say.
Payload.
Failover.
Failover. Oh, okay. Okay. Let me get that one. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Yeah. So under performance testing, we do have these many types, right? So we do have load, we do have stress, we do have endurance, spike, volume, failover. So almost in all these testing, the common thing is we are going to apply some load on the application and we are going to test. But still, why do we need to have multiple testing types? What does it differ? I mean, like, why does it differ, or what is the objective of these types? Like, yeah, okay. What is the objective of all these types? I mean, at which point do you think that they are all different? And are you sure that we are going to do every test in our performance testing? So you understood my question, right? So why do we need to do all these testing, and what is a common testing type that we do? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
To know application behavior under various conditional loads.
Yeah, that is load testing. Yeah. And what about stress testing, and what about endurance, spike, and everything?
Stress testing, we do like keep on applying load on application or servers to know the threshold point of the application or break point of the application.
Okay. And what about the other one?
Spike testing, like gradually increasing the load or decreasing the load. when traffic gets high. So how the application behave under huge traffics. Suddenly
And
increases
Nitin,
on suddenly.
yeah, go ahead. And Nitin, you raised your hand.
Yes, then basically in load, performance testing and load testing, we check the how many users can come, like how our web application, how many users can handle in a great traffic or in under the load, how many users can use our application. Basically, to get this figure, we perform performance testing.
Okay, and yeah, we all know that, and we normally regularly do. At least I would say that we normally do the load, we normally do the stress, even we do this endurance. So, at which scenario did you do the spike? I mean, like, have you by any chance, or did you see that some of your mates or somebody is doing the spike testing or volume or failover? So, under which scenario we do that? Because yeah, we have this in papers. I know, like, we, when anybody asks, or when anybody tells them, tells us that, what are the type of testing, yeah, we do come across all this. But by any scenario, and under any scenarios, like, have you remember that somebody do this, and at what under what condition did they do this part, the failover thing?
Is it only spike or failover, Vasan?
Yeah, all three, like spike, volume, failover. So
Okay,
why are they not the primary and they are like kind of the secondary? Yeah, because we all know, anytime when we complete the functional testing, people ask us to start the load testing, right? So they
yeah,
say
yeah.
that, okay, they just, this is the load, come on, go ahead and start the load testing, right? So that's how they do it. But at what point, like, why do we really need to do the spike or volume or failover?
Okay, I'm like in my case, I'm just giving with my experience. So I was once working for a M&S project. So it was a retail, and they were having a scenario like during the sales. It may like they have the estimation like maybe our sales may go this point. So uh, I'm like the requirement they gave like you just do the testing to increase or achieve this much of volumes or to estimate the containers like or the pods whatever we those were micro services.
Services,
So
okay.
they just want to estimate the pod capacities like if volume has been 4 times or 6 times. So like until what extent the pods can handle this volume from the application. So that's where we perform the spike once, and failover is to understand. We were having two different data centers. So whenever one of the data center went down, so whether the other one is able to capable, and we were also maintaining different replicas of pods. So when one of the pod uh, gets crashed, what will happen? So we just
Exactly.
got that kind of requirement, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And have you tested that way? I mean, have you did that failover testing?
Yeah, we did that way.
Mm-hmm.
We just we got an access to delete the pods. So during the testing, they asked us to delete the pods and asked us to see whether calls are getting dropped or transactions are getting dropped or
Exactly.
continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During a testing, they ask you to remove the pods, or they ask you to like shut down. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is, in terms of, so again, like, when it comes to the infrastructure of the application, I would say that please do understand the architecture, because it's really going in a, like, a devil's manner. Like, we did have on premises, so we all know about that. What is an on premises? I will in fact quickly take on that as well. Let me just keep it. That's more interesting. And we did had on premises, and then we do have cloud applications now, and then we do have hybrid, and then currently in terms of architecture we do have pods, the Kubernetes. This is more interesting one, and we do have like you said, the microservices to connect them, and it's going like in an interesting manner. But just to let you know that the thing is like people want us to understand how to connect them, right? So how to work, even though when something goes wrong, because yes, it do happens, right? In real time, we do see that at some regions the system might go down, and some regions will work fine, and we do give the availability to the users, right? Because just to remember, I always remember this word during I actually chose software engineering and testing as my favorite, as my what to say, selective in my college. So I still remember those words. So one of my professor was telling me that what is the difference between the sweets in a normal shop and the sweets between some very famous shops. And he used to tell us that the difference is quality, right? So to bring that quality, we are actually doing this performance testing. That's in one word I always remember. So to add the quality, to bring the quality, I in fact even tell the same thing in all my interviews as well. If they ask why do we need to do performance testing, because just to remember, if somebody asks you like which sweets do you like, we always remember the shops where we get a good quality and not a normal quality, right? So to get the good quality, and the same applies to applications as well. If you want to buy something, if you want to an item, you immediately go to an application which responds to you very quickly, right? Or which responds to you, which loads very quickly. Yeah, we don't have options for ISTC, I agree. That's the only thing we have. But apart from that, just remember, in other applications in retail, or if you're ordering some food item, you always pick an application, you always use an application that works for you very well. Why is that? Because that application or that particular app responds to us very well, right? So that's where the quality stands, that's where the application stands out, right? So to bring that, and also just remember, if you're using, or if you're if you're like feeling very hungry, and you're opening one of your food order app, and just remember, if that app goes down by the time you are about to do the billing, and you're about to complete your order. So just remember what happens. You'll just get frustrated, and you will never ever use that application. You'll just completely delete that app, right? You're not going to use that application again. So that is the reason why we actually do this reload testing. So the main thing is to make sure that they have. I mean, like, if you are a performance tester, just remember you are actually saving your client. You are actually giving a goodwill to your client, because functional testing, yes, that is very mandatory, but apart from that, if anybody else is using an application, is because mainly because of the performance, it's mainly because of the availability, right? Because um, just to remember, like, if you were about to send some money to your friends or to your family on any emergency situation, and when you're opening your banking app, just remember your account, they says like it's your application is down and we are upgrading it now, and just wait for some more time. So just remember, understand the frustration you have, right? Although you have lots of money in your account, but you're not able to send it to your friends or your family, right? So that is the main reason we do bring the performance testing as the main scope. And I personally understand that that's the least scope that has been given, and it's very difficult. But if you understand that, if you're a performance tester in an account, you will be the only one who is in charge of the entire application or the entire project. Because I remember that way. I was in the team, like, we were like doing the entire testing for the entire project. So for any of the appreciations, for any of the deliverables, if they might do releases, so we'll be part of that team. And I remember, I personally remember, I was like very happy, I was very proud that for every releases we will be part of the team, and we used to get appreciations, rewards, and everything. So that's again another side perk that we used to get. And yeah, so that's how it goes. So coming back to this Lotus, and before that, I think Vanaja has joined us just now. So yeah, Vanaja, can you just start with the introduction, and then we'll go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually basically started my career everything with the functional testing, but
Mhm.
then in recent days I have been pulled into a project where that pressures me to skill up with the performance testing side as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And luckily I got the requirements. I got a chance to question them back, what is the scope and what is the expectation from them. So that's where I got a like each testing, like each type of testing whatever we listed here, I
Mhm.
got a brief information like what is the purpose of load testing and the stress and endurance. And then I was saying the spike importance, right? So
Okay.
I got the importance of those types, and I got a chance to execute them as well with the
Mhm.
load runner.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, to be frank, I'm a 90% of a functional tester, and then
Mhm.
10% I recently got a chance of non-functional. And
Mhm.
the reason for joining this session today is to get the full essence of the NFT.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I remember you were there in our group for a long time, right?
Yes, yes,
The
yes. I was following the yeah, yeah. I was. I'm like, this is the reason why I've been joined the group. I was
Mhm.
following the charts here and there, the discussions, but I don't have the fundamentals. Wasn't to be
Mhm.
frank.
Mhm. Okay.
I was into the things, and I was just browsing somewhere, and I'm trying it on the project, but I don't have the fundamentals.
No,
Something
okay.
like how to calculate. So that's the reason. Yeah.
Sure, sure, definitely. And yeah, we'll go ahead, and then the reason I wanted to take this is I wanted to take you through a proper original because I have been to several other trainings as well, but I don't find them. They are like into real time. They just go pick a tool, they tell them that do this, do that, and then they'll go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
do not want that. That's more of a kind of a term. They really do not share their knowledge in terms of the real time. Like they say that okay, do this, do that, and you're a functional
Correct.
performance tester.
Correct.
That's
Correct. Yes. Yes.
yeah, that's not going to work. But yeah, going forward, yeah, I'll just take you through them one by one. And for now, yeah, let's see. I mean, again, when you are telling about all these performance testing, I remember we do have the scalability testing as well because I remember I did do the scalability testing every time. So firstly, let's see with the load testing first. So the objective, like again, like I told you, all these testing deals with the load. Like without any load, we are not going to test everything, but still they are going to deal with the load. But still, that is the difference. And the difference stays in the objective. So the first one, when I say about the load testing, so the objective of the load testing is to assess how a system or how your application your network behaves under a specific load or a specific amount of user traffic. So when I say specific load, so we used to again, there is a lot of background activities that has been that we have to do. Like as a performance testers, we have to do you have to understand how much load we have to use, and that's again a separate topic. It's again a big topic because people might I have even created several videos on that as well because you might get a interview question in the interviews like anyway in real time you'll get that they'll give you an application and they'll ask you like what is the load you're going to use for this application. You might be like confused, okay, what should be the load and why am and in some scenarios they'll tell you that okay, use 200 users load, and then you might be wondering, so why at this scenario why should I use 200 users and how should I use this, because it's not just one script, you're going to use multiple scripts, and how should I distribute the load. So the key part is to of the load testing is to ensure that your system can handle the expected usage patterns and meet the performance requirements. So when I say the expected usage patterns and performance requirements is like you. So the main part is in terms of load testing is you're going to measure the system's performance under normal and peak loads. So when I say normal and peak loads, you will be getting it from okay, there are like several ways of getting it. So the first thing is in terms of load, I'm saying, so you can get it through the analytics tool or from the BAs who knows how many users are using the system in one particular day or in one particular hour, and from there you're going to collect the user load, and then apart from that you are going to get the distribution as well, like for how many for example, like say for example if you're using an application like Amazon, and not every time we are going to book an item or we are going to order an item. So what we do is like we search for a particular item, or we do add them to the cart. And in some scenarios, we used to give some gift cards to our friends, or we used to redeem some gift cards from our friends, or we do do the Prime membership, or we do cancel the Prime membership, we do change the addresses if we are moving to a new location, or if we do delete our address, we do delete the payments, we do change the cards. So all these transactions we do, right? So that is the real time scenario. So that's where actually you're going to test your application. So all these are going to be your scope. But just remember, in testing, we do have a line. We do say that in like the Bible is, it says that not as a tester, you're not going to test everything. You're not going to test end to end. But what is going to be the testing scope? The thing is like you're going to test the high priority and the very urgent scenarios, right? So you're when you're like releasing something in that particular change. So what you're going to do is like you're going to test in that the scope which is in that particular. So for example, you have an entire application, entire retail application, and just remember at that scenario you're going to you are making some changes in the add to cart functionality. You're making some changes, like for example in terms of the wish list, adding to wish list, or some UI changes, or some calls, API calls, or some of them are into on-prem. So there are like lots of changes that are happening, and but your scope is changing the things in the add to cart and changing some few of the things in the wish list. So in that scenario, what will be under your radar? What will be your scope of testing? Yeah, anybody can answer this. So you have access to the entire application, but then um, you're going to release, say for example, like we all work in Scrum, we all know about the sprints, right? And in this particular sprint, you're going to release a particular functionality which mainly focuses on add to cart and wish list. So what will be your scope, or what will you test actually? Yeah, I can see everybody's unmute. Guys, are you awake?
Yeah, Vasant, can you please repeat your question, Vasant?
Okay, so the question is, you are working in a team where the entire team is about the entire project is about a retail application, but in that particular sprint you're supposed to deliver a scope, or you're making some changes to the add to cart and wish list functionality. So what will be your scope of the load test? Like if you're going to test that, what will be what are you going to test?
Yeah, our primary objective first we need to validate the new functionality version, and also as a tester we need to ensure that if the add to cart functionality itself, yeah, as a end user they will when they will come to the add to cart page is like after searching after searching the product and getting that product into the add to cart, right? So we need to ensure the existing functionality also. Our goal is to the system should behave the system should support both new and existing functionalities. So our primary goal may concentrate for the new feature, and the test coverage should be on both new and existing functionalities, Vasant.
Okay. All these is possible for the functional testing and where you do use the regression. But the point is for performance testing, we don't really care about the one that we are not making changes, because anyways you're not touching the code for those, right? You're not going to make any changes. So this is what most of us do the mistake, because we do try bring everything, squeeze up, and we do try to test everything, but that's not possible. Again, that's going to take a lot of time, because for performance testing, it's not just like a functional testing where we just take the test case and test it. We do have to create scripts. We do have to check the old scripts if you are testing the old applications, and in some scenarios, what if they don't work? So our priority, like I told you, our priority should be the highest one. So what is the highest priority is the latest changes. So the reason is why I'm telling you the latest, the highest one, that's the latest one that's been changed, is because you have to primarily test the code before it has changed, and that is going to be a benchmark, right? So that's if you are getting the current, your current application in that current scenario, you're getting during the load test for a particular page, which is less than like 3 seconds, you should get the same in your after release, or in your new system, or in your new release. That's what you're going to test it. And just remember, if you're getting like 3 seconds in your old system before change, and after change, if you're getting like 7, 6 seconds or 5 seconds, then that is an alert. So you're supposed to stop the release, because you're getting more than that, and that too in the testing environment. And just remember what will happen that in the production environment, you have to like scale up the load. You have to just, when you're just scaling up the load and scaling up the response times, right? So that is the reason you have to measure. So that's why the load testing comes into picture, and we have to test the current system and the new system. So it's not like you're, yeah, we can test the entire one, but just we are on sprints, we are on scrums, and we all know the sprints, the sprints are like only 2 weeks. And just remember, how much time will you get to that in the 2 week of time, and what will you do if you are like about to release something, and you're just working on your script creation, right? So in that scenarios, like, we have to be aware that what are we going to test. Okay, so when it comes to this load testing, so we have to okay, basically the load test will help us to determine that how the system performs under various conditions, like from normal load to peak load. So when I say normal load, so we used to get how much load the system experiences during normal hours, and also we have to collect the peak load. So when I say peak load, for example, in a day, starting from 9 to 5, like usually 9 to 5 is the peak time for any application, and then out of that 9 to 5, you can see there is a peak time, like for example from 9 to 10 you'll be getting some 10,000 users who are logging into the system, and from 10 to 11 there will be like 12,000, and then at some point of time it will go down. But again, at some point of time in the day between 9 to 5, you can see that the system is getting a high hits like 20,000. So that could be a peak load, and that is in the production, right? So you're going to use that load and you're going to test it, and this will help you to understand how the system behaves as the number of concurrent users or request increases, right? So you're going to test again with the normal load, and then when you're testing it with the peak load, you will be understanding the difference, like how much response times does it have, like do you get in terms of testing. And also by doing this, you're going to understand, so the main, so what is the key performance indicators that you collect during your load testing? What are the key what are the metrics do you collect?
We collect the response time,
Yep.
the latency, and the average, and the standard time, and the error percentage.
Response times, I agree, but latency, no. So what do you mean by
Users,
latency?
users we collect, and the available tools like monitoring tools. What are the tool we are going to record for script, and which browser we are going to use, and test data, and preferable time to run the scripts.
No, they are not the metrics that are going to collect after testing. So what I'm asking is, what are the metrics that we collect during testing? So how will you say that, okay, the load test is pass or fail? Or how will you say that, okay, I have run a test, and here are the metrics to tell you that, okay, the application is good to release?
Throughput, and then
Okay.
what is the 90th percentile percent? And also some cases we will consider the bandwidth.
Okay. Okay.
Size of the data consumed to complete the transaction.
Okay. So here I have heard about the latency. So can you guys tell me about what is a latency?
Latency. Particular transactions taking a buffering time. It's a lag of time.
Okay. Any answers? Any other answers about
It's
latency?
basically a KPI in which we can measure that how quickly our application is responding to our HTTP requests.
No, actually, that is that's actually the confusion people used to make. So when you say responding, then that is response time.
The browser to server reaching the request is network
Hmm.
latency.
Yep, exactly. I think you must have watched one of my videos so where I have explained this. So what happens is the latency is like the time it takes for your request to reach from your browser to the server. And the response time again, there is another latency which is like coming back from the server to the browser. So what happens is like people used to get confused, like they think latency and response times are same, because latency and response times are not same. Latency is part of your response times, because when you hit a request or when you send a request, it goes to the server, and then the server processes it. It tells whether it is a good request or a bad request, and it gets the response and send it back to you, right? And that particular send back, when I say like coming back to us, also will have latency. So you are having two latency plus one processing time. That is the full response time. So people used to get, and by any chance we never ever going to get the latency time, and nobody cares about that, because latency is not under our control, but the processing is under control. Because when I say latency is not under our control, is because we cannot control the network, right? When I say we cannot control the network, so you have a bandwidth, you have a throughput, so you are going to send a request, and we do not know how many people are using the internet at the same time and how much network squeeze will be there, and uh, how much time will it take, and also there could be fluctuations, there could be a lot of other issues as well. And your system, just remember, if your cloud is, you are in Hyderabad, and just imagine that your cloud is under a different country, automatically it will take a lot of time, right? It will take, I won't say a lot of time, but again, there will be a lot of delay. There are a lot of delays in reaching the request from your browser to that particular server. So all these factors are involved. So that's what I'm trying to say. So coming back to this load testing, so what are all the metrics that we do collect is, let me give it here. So we do collect the response time. So when I say response times, we do collect the minimum response time, the average response time, the max response time, and then the 90th, 95th,
Right?
and
99.
99%. Yep. And yeah, in the tools as well, we do have several
100%.
options. Sorry, yeah, someone is asking something.
Yeah, that percentage also.
Yeah, yep. The percentile. So we do collect all these. So that's the main metrics that we, because people might ask you, and please don't tell anything that you remember. I will tell you. I'll just show you how to do a load test, and I'll show you how it happens. So please do follow that. Kindly don't uh, tell any words that comes to your mind. When it comes to load testing, we used to get the response times, the minimum, average, maximum, the 90th, 95th, 99th, and it depends on the client's requirement. And then we do collect the number of pass transactions, and then the failed transactions. And once you get the failed transaction, automatically we get the number of failures. And then we do get the again these will be in the table, like when you are creating the table. And apart from that, we do have to understand like what are the transactions. So the transaction names should be in the table. Apart from that, you are not going to add anything else. You're not going to add any other metrics to the load test, because they are like too much information, and when you are supplying too much information, you'll be getting too much questions, and when we get too much questions, we'll start making mistakes, right? And when I say these many metrics, the key thing is, let me just remove this, is not relevant here. So when I say all these part, so how are we going to say that the response time which I'm getting is a good response time? So that it's a past one. Or I can say that, okay, see, the response times are, these are response times, and I can say that, okay, so now we can release the application. What is the confidence that you give to the client or to the business, and tell them that, okay, now we are good to release? Under what scenario, by just seeing the response times, you get that? Anybody?
Usually, we will consider the 90th percentile response time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else? What else? What will you give as a justification to the business or to the developers, and tell them that, okay, now we are good? Because you have collected the response times, you collected the metrics, right? And you have everything in your hand, and how will you tell them that, okay, now we are good to go, now we are happy that we can release the application, and there won't be any escalations from the client, or the users will be happy by using our application? And under what situation will you confirm that?
If the agreed SLA of the
Hmm,
second is met, then we can move ahead.
exactly, that's what the word I was expecting to. SLAs. Sorry. So when you say SLAs, can you just expand that for me, please?
Service level agreement.
Exactly, that's right. So service level agreements, that's the SLAs. So that's what we are working for. So service level agreements. Okay. So for some of your clients, you might be getting it. First, for those who know what is an SLA, or for those who can tell you that, okay, I can give you an SLA, and try to see, try to find that whether the application is under SLA. What is the other scenarios you find that, okay, I don't have an SLA? You tell what is the pass criteria. So and that's such a situation. What will you tell, or what will you agree upon?
If you don't have SLA, before going to the load test, we have to conduct the benchmark testing. Then based on that, before going, we have to get it to we have to inform to the client. These transactions getting this SLA, like we have to, if client agree with that, and we have to consider the benchmark SLA.
Okay, so when you say benchmark, what will you do there?
Benchmark particular transaction, how much we have to conduct the with minimal users, and particular with minimal timing, we have to conduct the test. Whether applicate each transaction, how much time taking.
Okay. 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 Fine. Fine. So see, just remember, you guys have given us. So you have like, I'm just happy that, okay, people are having some understanding on this. Okay. So two things. So one is the SLA. So after we complete our testing, and we do compare the average response times, or we do compare the percentile with the SLAs, right? And then we see that, okay, whether the response times that we get is less than the SLA, and then we say that, okay, it's passed. But just imagine if you're above that, then we are going to say that, okay, it's not passed, and we have to improve the performance by tweaking, or by making some changes, or by doing some indexing. So that's again a separate part. And then you said about the benchmark testing. So when you say about benchmark testing, what we're going to do is, like, again, we do two things. One is, like you said, we can do it with a, in some scenarios, yes, we do that. But in the other scenarios, what we do is we do have the when you are releasing your application for the first time, yes, we do have that load results, right? So when you are releasing that application in your version 1, you'll be having those metrics, you'll be having those response times. And just imagine when you're like releasing it for the second time or for the third time, you'll be anyways having your previous results, and then you're going to use that as your um, comparison results, and then you're going to use it, right? um, so in that scenarios, yes, we're going to use those values, and then we're going to use that for the comparison with the current response times, and we're going to use that as the um, SLAs. And yeah, like one of you have told about the percentile. So let me explain that about the percentile. Anybody of you have any idea about what is a percentile and how do we calculate? What is the difference between the percentage and the percentile? Yep.
90% we have to consider the, if you have a 200 transactions, if you into 90%, 90 by 100,
Mhm.
we will get the 90% value. Like we are, all values we have to consider the ascending order.
Mhm.
Number of transactions, number of transactions into 90 by 100. We
Okay.
will get the 90% value.
Mm, can you explain me better, because I'm not able to understand what you're saying. Can you just give me a better explanation, better with an example?
Yeah, let's say if you have a 10 transactions,
Mhm.
each of transactions taking similar, like one transaction taking 10 seconds, one transaction taking 5 seconds, 8
Mhm.
seconds, until then 10 transaction taking different response time.
Mhm.
That time we have to assign in the we have to write the order, ascending order,
Mhm.
like and once write the ascending order, we have to
Mhm.
consider the total transactions into,
Mhm.
and 90 by 100, we will get the whatever value we get, the 90 value, 19th value,
Mhm.
19, that value we have to consider the 90 percentile.
Mhm. Okay.
If it's I'm right or wrong,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you
Go ahead. Go
figure?
ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead. You're on the right path. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's enough.
Okay. Right. Let me just give you a quick explanation. You're almost right, but let me give you the proper samples.
Vasant, can I have a try?
Yeah, yeah, please.
I'll just explain what is difference between percentage and percentile.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like in exam, I scored 90 percentage of marks. That is called
Okay.
percentage.
Mhm.
But when I say I am in the 90th percentile
Mhm.
in my class,
Mhm.
that means I am better than the rest of the 90 students, I can say, out of 100.
Yep. So in this scenario, it's little different. So let me just explain you. Sorry, what is that numbers? It's almost same, but there is a little bit of difference. Come on, what's that? Okay, good. Mhm. And data, and then text columns. Next. Finish. And now, yeah. So what happens is, okay, wait, we get like this one here. Mhm. 0. Okay, I think right. Okay. So just remember, imagine like you are running 100 user load test, okay, and in that scenario, you'll be getting 100 response times like this. Like for the first transaction, you're getting 3.1, and for the second time, you're getting 4.5, and for the third one, you're getting 6.7, something like this, okay. Mm, and let me just delete this one. Same here, okay. Delete. Sorry, delete again. Okay. So for the first transaction, for the first user, you'll be getting 3.1, and then for the second user, you'll be getting 4.5, and something like this. Okay. So here we are getting all these way. So what happens is, where is that number here? Okay, the maximum and then the minimum. So here, if you see at the bottom of the screen, out of all these transactions, the minimum response time. So I'm again, all these actions will be done by the tool. So I'm showing you what will happen when the tool, what the tool is doing. So you're getting the minimum response time, the average response time, the maximum, and then the 90th, the 95th, and then the 99th. Okay. So I'm just selecting all these. So this is what the tool will do internally. So when I'm selecting all these, here at the bottom, you can see the minimum response time is 3.1, right? So let me write that. So this is going to be your 3.1. That's going to be your minimum response time in terms of seconds. So you're going to be, you are getting a 3.1 second of response times. And then when it comes to the average, let me select it again. And here you can see the average is 6.10, right? So you're going to get 6.10. And then the next one, which is the maximum. So the maximum is 9.5. So again, 9.5 is going to be our maximum response times. And then the 90th. So that's the main thing. Which so here, even in the Excel sheet, you can see we do get the count, we do get the average, we do get the maximum, we do get the sum. But what about the percentile? So when I say about percentile, what happens is, how will the tool does that is, firstly what it'll do is, like, it will just select all the applications, all the transactions, and then it will do a sorting. So it'll go to the data, do a filter, go to the sort. So sorry, let me check this one. So it'll do a sorting from lowest to lowest to highest. So if you see here, it is in the order of lowest to highest now, starting from the minimum response time, that is the 3 seconds. Yep, if I'm not wrong, it says 3.1. And then here you can see the maximum is 9.5, which is the maximum that we have quoted here. So how will we collect the 90th is, so once you select all of these, and then just imagine you have like 100 transactions. So when you are having 100 transactions, what comes under in your 90th place is going to be your 90th percentile. So for example, in this scenario, I can even just, let me add a few more response times as well, so that you get the understanding of what stands at the right place. Two more, 7.1, 1 point, 3.3. Okay. Now let me just do another sorting. Yep. Yeah. So when it comes to 90th percentile. So what happens is, so I have sorted it down from the lowest to the highest one. So from place number one holder to the 100th. So what happens is, what comes under the 90th place? So this part is going to be the 90th percentile. So what did we do is, I have collected all the response times, every response times for that particular transaction, not for the entire transaction, but for that particular transaction. Say, for example, if this is a login transaction, right? So for the login transaction, the minimum response time is 3.1. The average response time is 6.1 seconds. The maximum is 9.5 seconds. And what is the 90th percentile? So the 90th percentile is, now you know, that is 7.7, right? So you're noting it down. So 7.7 seconds is the time taken for your login transaction. And then the 95th, that's your 95th percentile. And then the 99th percentile. Obviously you're not going to take the 100th percentile because that is already in your maximum, right? So 8.5 and 9. So 8.5 and 9. So the reason why most of the users or most of the business do not agree with the averages. So in your average, just see, none of the place you were matching the average, because what yes, I do agree that average is where we are collecting the average response time, but just imagine when you are having a too much of a lesser minimum response times. And because see, what average does is it actually adds all the response times and then it divides it by the number. So for example, like we have added a few more times. So now if you see, yep, see, now it has been changed. Like now the average is like 6.035. So it actually changes, right? It actually changes by the number of transactions and by the number of response times. There will be always a change, but the minimum and the maximum also could change if there are any changes in the response times, right? So what happens is, like, what I'm trying to say is, this is how you collect your response times: the average, the percentile, and the minimum and the maximum response time. So just see, you can see the difference here. So it is like almost 1.7 seconds more than what we see in the average response time. That is, it is like 2.5 more than what we see in the 95th, and it's almost closer. The 99th is almost closer to the maximum response time, right? So this is how we collect it. And like I told you, most of the users, because the average, like I told you, it could be misleading. So that is the reason we do select the percentiles, because if most of the requests are fast, but very few are like extremely slow, then the average response times might look good because we are hiding the poor performance of slower request. And the other scenario, like the percentiles, like the 90th percentile, will focus on the worst case scenarios, that what the most of the users are encountering, right? Because if most of the users are having a better response times, the percentile will be better. If most of the users are experiencing a bad response times, then yes, obviously we are going to get a bad response time or the worst response time. So, and in fact, I would say that if you want to identify your performance bottleneck, then yes, you have to definitely look for the percentile rather than the response times. Okay. So coming back to the original page, so this is where the metrics stands. The metrics that we're collecting stands all about. Come back to the whiteboard. Yeah. So coming back to this performance type, the load testing. So the first thing is, like, the objective of the load test is to understand how the system performs under a normal load or under a peak load. And when you are saying about the stress testing, what is the objective of stress testing? So any of you guys can answer that. Why do we need to do stress testing when we are already doing a load testing with a load?
He said that we are testing the durability of the application.
To find out the threshold value of the application, breakpoint of the application.
Okay.
Yeah, to know the application, how many users can accept in the application. We gradually increase the users on the application.
Okay. Any other answers? Anybody else want to add any other points apart from the one that's been told? You can very well add it. Okay, so when it comes to the stress testing, so what are we going to identify is its breaking point. So we're going to understand the maximum capacity of the system and not the actual load, not the peak load, but we're going to even test beyond that. We're going to give more users beyond that. And by doing that, you're going to determine the point at which the system performance will slightly degrade, or in some scenarios, it will even crash. So what happens is, like, when you're doing this stress testing, you actually bring down your system. You're going to break your application server and your web server and whatever the infrastructures you have. Sometimes even it breaks the database servers because you're sending more requests to your databases as well. So that do happens. But again, to safeguard the databases, automatically when there are like too much of stress, automatically the web will cut the connection to the app server, and then it turns into cut the connection to the database, and that's how the configurations are returned. So that's the behind the screen, that's the thing that's happening. Okay, so obviously the objective is to understand what is the maximum load the system can handle, right? So under which scenario do we do that? So okay, so we do have an application, and when do we do a stress testing? Okay, so in that's okay. So first thing is like to verify whether the system can handle any unexpected spikes in usage, or for any high demand. And it is useful for applications which are facing sudden traffic surges, for during sales events, during any events, or during any product launches. For example, we all know about the Black Friday that's happening. So during Black Friday, people will come to check the offers. People will come to make some bookings. They will do some buyings, obviously, some purchases. So that situation, the system should not go down, right? So for that, people, I mean, like even recently there was some event, and some, I think, some events for some program, and the website went down when like too many people were trying to book the tickets, right? So that's an ideal scenario. So it's where, because nobody is going to use the system other than that particular scenario. And say, for example, like if the peak load is like about 1000 users for 1 hour, and just imagine like more than like 1 lakh people, like 100 times or like 1000 times of the load is trying to hit the application, and at some point of time, yes, the application will automatically come down, right? Because just imagine, I'm just trying to emulate you a scenario, like you are having your laptop, okay, and you're opening one browser, okay, and just imagine you are opening like 1000 tabs at the same time. What happens is, like, automatically, obviously, your system will go down, right? Because your system is not supposed to be built for that. Because obviously we can open 100, like 10 tabs or maximum 50 tabs. Above that, if you open it, what happens is, like, your system will go down. So that is what the same thing is going to happen in your system, in your application server as well. Because exactly the same thing is happening. Because when too many users are hitting the application, what happens, like, too many services or too many tasks will be opened, right? So if the system could not handle it, automatically the system will break down. So that's what will happen. So you understand, right, what I'm trying to say in terms of stress testing?
Yes,
Yeah, got
Sachin.
your points.
Yeah. And it's not just about that. It's not just about the maximum load. We are going to actually understand the weaknesses as well. Like when you're doing stress testing, it will tell the system, like, at which point which hardware or which software or which network infrastructure is facing the pain, and it will tell you that, okay, so this particular part is like have to be fixed, or this particular part has to be uh, fixed in a manner that it has to handle more load. Okay, apart from that, you're going to identify areas such as your CPU, your memory, your disk input output, and your database query. So all these has to be identified, and all this has to be optimized at the end of your testing. And after that, you're going to ensure that, okay, you're doing a stress testing. Obviously, you're going to break your system, and after some point of time, automatically the system should come up and it should work fine. So that is what you should test as well. That's again part of your testing, but the objective is to test the maximum user load. So that's where the stress testing plays its picture. And then the next one is the endurance testing. So how will we do? Firstly, let's see what is the objective, and let's see how to do that endurance testing. So anybody else, can you try? At which point, or like what are we doing in endurance testing, and what is the objective of it?
Actually, we apply a load on the servers for extended period of time, like 8 to 12 hours,
Exactly.
to know the like to find out the bottlenecks, like CPU, memory, like any database queries are taking more longer time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Any one of you can try. Okay, so coming back to the endurance testing, so what happens is, like, again, we can call it as soak testing as well, where we are going to soak the application. So I think yeah, okay, I think somebody has joined. Hi Gautam, can you hear me? Gautam, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, actually you are joining very late, but still, yeah, you're welcome to join. But can you give us a quick introduction about you?
Yes, my name is Gautam. I'm from Pondicherry. I'm working as a manual tester and a little bit automation in Ring.
Okay, and what's your motivation to join this training?
I want to learn about performance testing and explore the tools about the performance testing, like JMeter, Lawton. I have go through some videos in the YouTube channel also.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for joining. And just I was telling this in my previous so in the beginning of the session. So kindly never tell that as manual. So please tell that as a functional testing, because you're testing the functional, not the manual part. Yeah, everybody else are doing things manually, but still just try to tweak it. It's always going to be functional and not manual, right? And I think you would be taking forward like that. And yeah, so we have discussed a lot of topics about functional, non-functional performance testing. But yeah, now currently we are discussing about the endurance testing, and we have got few inputs as well. Like after this, I will share the recording. You can just watch from there, and for your better understanding.
Yeah, sure, I will continue.
By any chance, please make sure that you're joining the session a little early, because if you join it late, then you might be missing the real interaction. You might be having some doubts which you won't be able to ask, or you won't be able to answer. So please do make sure that you're joining a little early at the right time. Okay, that would be very helpful for everybody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Gautam. And so coming back to this endurance testing, so the objective of endurance testing is to evaluate the system's performance and the stability of the application over an extended period of time. Like you correctly said, we will be testing the application for a long duration, say for example, like for 8 hours or 12 hours. And what will be the load for this is, you're not going to use the actual load that we're going to use in the load testing, but what we're going to use is, we're going to either use 25% of the load that we use for load testing, or 50% of the load that we are using for load testing, not the actual load test. Because when you're using your load in your from your load test, then that again will be your load test, not your endurance test, right? And the reason here is we're going to average the load, the entire load, for example, from 9 to 5, or when you say 12 hours, yes, we're going to take it from 9 to 8, and then we are going to average that users, and then we are going to scale it down to the testing environment configuration, and then we are going to use that as for testing, and then we're going to do that, right? So when you're just scaling down and we are going to average, so automatically you'll be getting anywhere between 25 to 50%, and that's what we're going to use for your endurance load. And then what is the objective? So what are we going to find? So now, so far we discussed about how we going to do. So what or why are we going to do that? So the first thing is like to detect the memory leaks. Yes. So like we see for load testing, we used to get the response times, the past transactions, the failed transactions, and everything. For stress testing, we used to see the hardware, the software, the network. And for endurance, we're going to collect the memory. So we're going to detect for any memory leak. So because when you are doing a load test for a long time, endurance test for a long time, what we are going to see is like when we are going to verify that whether the system releases the unused memory properly. Yes, we know. Again, there is a very big topic behind this. The topic you must have heard about garbage collection, right? So garbage collection is something that's happening in the system that has to be properly handled, even though there are like new technologies that are coming in, but still memory leaks or the memory issue is always there. So by using this endurance testing, we're going to identify for any memory leaks, for any excessive memory consumptions that leads to system crashes or performance degradation over time. Because just imagine you're, like I told you the previous example, like you're opening 100 tabs, and which will actually create 100 objects, and you keep on creating more and more and more tabs, and you're creating more and more object. But even okay, after that you're just closing some of the tabs, but still just remember those objects that you created were still in the memory and they were not cleared. What happens is there won't be any new space for the new users to open new tabs, right? So in turn, what happens is like they have to wait in the queue, and in turn in here the memory has to be cleared, and there is a lot of actions that will happen by the garbage collector. So we know about the garbage collector who normally clears the unused objects or the old objects. So see, he have to clear the old objects, and only then the space for the new objects will be created, and they'll be able to open their application. So that's again another, like I told you, that's another big topic that we'll discuss in our later sessions. But in this scenario, yes, so all that scenarios, all that object related, or all that memory related issues has to be fixed or has to be handled by the handled during this endurance testing. Because when you keep on running your test, you're going to confirm that your system has to maintain the consistent performance also, and also you have to detect for any slow response times. You have to check for any throughput drops, for any other degradation. So all this has to happen, and apart from that, you're going to check your CPU of your system, your memory, your disk, your network usage. So all these things has to be identified, all these things has to be monitored during endurance testing. That's how you do a long duration of testing. And apart from that, yep, there are like several other things like the data integrity, the hardware and infrastructure issues, and you're going to check for any recovery mechanism. So like what happens with the stress testing? Yes, we do have a breakage, a break failure of your applications, and that has to be recovered, and you have to look for data corruption. So everything, because just imagine your application is not just going to run for 1 hour, right, in real time. It's going to run 24 hours for all 365 days, right? So it has to be properly maintained. There should not be any data corruption, there should not be any data loss, there should not be any inconsistencies during long-term usage. So all this has to be simulated, or I'll say in other words, you have to emulate those scenarios, right? So that's the reason you're going to do this endurance testing, right? So any doubts so far, guys? Any doubts so far in terms of whatever topics we discussed, in terms of performance testing, or in terms of load, in terms of stress, endurance? Because I want to just stop and then we'll move to the next one. So any doubts, guys, so far? How do you feel?
Fine. No, some doubts. Fine.
Thank you. Any other doubts, guys? Do you think that okay, I'm missing something, or how do you find it? Like this is a first session, and I think we are all meeting for the first time, if I'm not wrong. So how do you feel? Like what do you understood? Like you find I'm okay, I'm going in the right pace, or how do you find?
Still it's good. You can go.
Sorry, Gautam.
Yeah, it's going good.
Okay, thank you. I think you have joined very late, but still, I think from the next sessions will be it will be more interactive, and they are expecting more people. And yeah, thanks for your feedback. And yep, I've got another comment. Insightful. Thank you, Deepa. And yep. So again, like I'm telling you, like the I'm not going to take like a templated one. I'm just going to use all my experience, my real-time experience with this, and then I'm going to take this. So that's the reason it will take a lot of time, but you'll be getting more insights, which nobody will share you. Yeah. So I think we are 2 minutes more for a session. We'll connect. I'll share my next communication. I mean, like next meeting. In the group, so please do follow, and if you have any questions or any queries, please do ask that in the comment section. I'll again upload this video as well, so please do watch that if you have any queries, or if you find anything that you might think that, okay, I just need to understand. And also if you guys are watching trying for any interviews, please do watch my interview sessions questions as well. And yeah, so we'll continue with the next types of testing: the spike, the volume, the failover, and the scalability in the next session, and then much more to come in our next sessions. And yep, so hope you have enjoyed the session, and I'll just like I told you, I'll update you about our next sessions. And is there anything else you want to tell me, or we can close the session? We have just 1 more minute to go.
Nothing, Vasant. All good. Also, thanks for conducting these sessions.
Thank you so much.
All good, Vasant, and my gratitude for bringing this session over here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your valuable time just teaching us, Vasant. It's very
Thank you.
great to meet you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, then we'll meet on the next session, and I'll upload this video on YouTube, and I'll share you the link as well. Please do watch that. That will be very helpful. And yep, see you in the next session. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Cheers. Bye.